In this video, we are going to look at the recruitment and selection as one of the functions of human resource department in an organization. Let's begin with introduction. Recruitment activity brings together the people who are qualified and looking for job and the organizations which are searching for prospect employees. The properly executed recruitment process leads to joining and selection of suitable manpower in the organization. So when you talk of people who are qualified, you cannot apply for a job if you know that you are not qualified. For example, if the requirements for a job is 3 years experience, maybe a bachelor's degree in a certain field, and for you, you do not have those qualifications, it means you are not going to be part of the recruitment process. However, you find some people very stubborn, even if they do not have the degree which is required, yet for them they have the certificate, you find them also applying. So if you are applying when you have your certificate, yet the requirement is a degree, then your application will not be taken into consideration. So if you are going to apply, please check the requirements before you even think of application. Otherwise, you are going to waste your time, you're going to waste your resources and energy to apply for that job, yet you're not going to be considered. So that is basically about the introduction of recruitment. Now let us look at the definition of recruitment. Edwin Filippo defines recruitment as a process of searching for prospect employees and stimulating them to apply for actual or anticipated jobs in the organization. So when you talk of the actual job, we're talking about the existing or the current job. Maybe the person who has been doing the job has resigned, or the person has been promoted or has been transferred somewhere. Then there is a need for someone to come in and fill the position. That's why it is called actual or existing position or job. When you talk of anticipated jobs, we are talking about a project which is supposed to be implemented in future. It could be 3 or 4 months to come, or even a year. An organization will prepare for the recruitment now, so that when the time comes, the workload will not be too much. So when you are applying for the job, they normally indicate. If it's a current job, they indicate it. And if it's an anticipated project which is to be implemented, they also indicate, so that you know when they'll be calling you for the interview or when you'll be going for that particular job. So basically, this is the definition of recruitment as a function of human resource department in organization. The next definition, we're going to look at the selection. According to Dal Yaude, selection is the process by which candidates for employment are divided into 2 classes: those who will be offered employment and those who will not. It means under selection, if you have performed well during the interview, you will stand a high chance of being selected. So your performance greatly determines whether you will be selected or not. So basically, that is the definition of selection. Now let us look at the difference between recruitment and the selection. Recruitment focuses on searching for potential employee to apply for the job, while selection is the process of choosing the best candidate and offering them jobs. So under recruitment, many people are applying, whether they have qualified or they have not qualified. It means it is an open kind of exercise. You apply, then the organization will sit down with the team and then decide who qualifies for the next stage of the recruitment exercise. But with the selection, it is done after the interview now. After you have been shortlisted, you have been interviewed, then your performance during the interview determine whether you'll be selected or not. That is difference number 1. Difference number 2, recruitment is a positive process, while selection is a negative process. So how is the recruitment a positive process? Because when you see the advert, you feel positive. You feel like, I'm going to apply for this job, I might win it. No one applies for a job and expect to lose. If you knew that you are going to lose, you would not have wasted your time to apply. So it is a positive process because all of us, we apply knowing that we might be shortlisted for the interview or even given the job. So therefore, it is a positive process. You feel motivated. But selection is negative. It is negative because after doing the interview, you have not passed well, then they will not call you back for the offer. So it becomes automatically a negative process. So basically, these are some of the differences between recruitment and the selection. Now let's look at the benefits of selection or recruitment. One is procurement of skilled employees. The HR department does recruitment because they want to secure skilled employees. And this is done through screening, a thorough screening. Screening is done in order to take few individuals who are highly qualified. Even if the screening is done, it doesn't mean you are automatically going to win the job. There is an interview. Most organizations, they have two sessions of interview. The first session is the written interview. When you pass the written interview, then you go to the second round of the interview, which is now the oral. So it means if you have passed, if you have been shortlisted, you have passed the written interview, and now to the oral, and also you pass the oral, it means you are skilled, you are the most competent candidate. So that is why it is beneficial to the human resource department to conduct recruitment so that a skilled person can be procured for the organization. The next benefit is a reduction in the cost of training. If recruitment is done in a very transparent way, a very credible recruitment means a competent candidate will be procured. It means cost related to training or people who are not qualified will be eliminated. But this does not mean we don't need to train employees after recruiting them. We keep on training employees because the skills needs to be updated. The next one is solution to personnel problems. Recruitment is a solution to personnel problems. What are the personnel problems? One is the employee resignation is a personnel problem. High rate of labor turnover is a personnel problem. Underperformance is a personnel problem. Okay, job dissatisfaction, etc. All these can be sorted through recruitment. If someone has resigned, what do you need to do? You do recruitment in order to replace the person who has just resigned. So basically, these are some of the benefits of recruitment or selection as far as human resource management is concerned. Now let us look at the errors in selection process. Everything has got what? Errors. Error number one is the selection errors. Selection errors happen when the HR department or the recruitment team decides to hire the wrong person. The person must have been very impressive during the interview, but in reality, he or she is not competent enough for the job. You see, to pass interview is one thing. Being competent to perform to the expectation is another. So this is the error people now do common nowadays, especially the HR department. You end up choosing the wrong person for the job. The next error is the omission errors. Omission errors happen when the HR or the recruitment team let go of the most competent employee or a person who is the most competent during the interview process. Maybe the person did not pass well the interview, but he is actually the most competent one. So these are some of the errors which we cannot miss during the recruitment exercise. However, we can minimize them depending on how we handle the interview, depending on how we phrase our questions to determine who is really qualified for what position. So these are the errors in the recruitment process. Now we are going to look at the recruitment and selection process. One is the job vacancy. For to have recruitment in place, you need to have a job vacancy. The job vacancy is normally arising when some workers have left the organization. When they left the organization, that means there is a vacancy to be filled. So after identifying the job vacancy, number two step is now conducting the job analysis. We do the job analysis to determine three things: the job content, the job context, and the job requirements in terms of academic qualifications and the experience. That is step number three. Step number four is screening candidates. And the screening, you can talk of maybe shortlisting. Because when you are applying, you receive more than 1,000 or even 2,000 applicants. Now you cannot interview all of them. So what you need to do is to do what we call the screening. The screening helps you to choose the most competent people who are going to go for the interview. That means out of 1,000 people who have applied for the job, you're going to take only 8 of 10 or 15, depending on your recruitment policy. After screening is done, the next thing now is the interviewing the candidates. We can write them emails or call them on phone to tell them about the interview so that they can prepare. So you need to give them maximum of 1 week. Some organizations can even give you a month to prepare for the interview. However, others will only give you 1 day to prepare for the interview. So interview is done to test your capability, whether you are competent enough for the job or not. That is step number 5. After interview is done, you have passed your interview. The next thing now is the reference checking. Some people call it a background checking. This is to confirm whether you had been working. They can write an email to the organization or to your supervisors to check your performance with them, to prove whether you have been working with them, how your general conduct during your work experience with them. Give them clue of who you are. That is done after you have passed the interview. Now, when the reference checking is done, the next thing to do is now making offer. The reference is checked, you are good to go, you are clean, then the organization give you the offer. We are paying you this amount of money, will you accept it or not? If you feel like the money is less than what you earn in your current work, you can bargain, you can negotiate with them to increase for you the pay. And in case the pay is less, you don't want it completely, you are free to reject it. It's not a must. You can decide to reject the offer. Now, what is the implication if the most performing candidate has rejected the offer? Now the HRA will look at the second person. If the first person has rejected the offer, then the second person will be the option now to take the offer. Now, if the offer is accepted, now the next thing is the selection and the onboarding. The necessary documents will be prepared for you to take the new role. It involves contract, etc. Then the last one is the induction or the orientation. Under the orientation or induction, this is where the organization takes you through the system, how they operate, how they do their things, the facilities they have, introduce you to the staff of the organization, taking you to your office, who is your boss, who you are supposed to supervise, things like that. All these are done during the orientation. The aim of orientation is to make sure that you are familiar with the organizational system, how it operates. So basically, these are some of the processes in the recruitment exercise. Now we have to look at the sources of recruitment. Number one is the internal sources. Under internal sources, we are talking about the present employees, we are talking about the employees' referrals or the former employees. So when we talk of present employees, it means if I'm currently working as assistant HR, then the organization wants to recruit HR manager, then they can just promote me to be the HR manager from assistant HR now to HR manager. So that's how recruitment is done internally. You do not need to go and advertise to look for HR manager from outside. Employee referrals. Employee referrals means I have to ask one of the colleagues in the organization, do you have someone who can do for us the work of accountant? If he says yes, then we are going to take that person. It is under employee referral. Then the last one is the former employees. This is whereby you recall back your former worker to come and work. Maybe the person had resigned or the contract had ended. Now another project has come. Instead of looking outside, you just call him or her to come and you continue with you people. So that is how the source of recruitment can be explained. The next source of recruitment, we are going to look at the external sources. And the external sources, we are talking about a job advert. The job advert could be placed online or it could be placed in the public notice boards. so that someone who is interested will read through and apply. The next one is educational institutions. This is where the organization goes to the universities to look for the most promising or the most performing candidate or students so that he or she will be taken and work for that particular organization. The next one is the personnel consultants. Personnel consultants, these are people who are basically experts in human resource matters, or they're having their businesses which runs human resource activities. You come to them and they will give you people to do the work you want. The last one now is the relatives and friends. This is whereby you pick a relative to one of your employees to come and work for the organization. So basically, these are some of the types of external method of recruitment. Now, let us look at the advantages of internal source of recruitment. The employees remain contented in high morale. This is because you know at any point you'll be promoted and your morale is going to be high. So you have no idea or no plan of leaving the company or the organization because you know in future you'll be promoted to the highest office. Number two is it creates a sense of security among employees. Employees will feel secured. The jobs for the employees are secured because in future they are part of the organization. The organization will not look outside to recruit new people. The organization will just look at them. So by doing that, their job is secured. The next one is employees are well aware that they stand the opportunity of promotion to higher positions. So this is self-explanatory. The next one is internal recruitment ensures continuity of employment and the organizational stability. It means no new faces are going to be coming to disorganize the organization. Rather, these employees who are currently working for the organization will not be leaving the company, which might result into labor turnover. So labor turnover is all about leaving the organization. People are coming, leaving, but under internal source of recruitment, it creates stability. The workforce is going to be stable because people expect to be promoted because external or outsiders are not allowed to work for the organization. So basically, these are some of the advantages of internal source of recruitment. Now you have to look at the disadvantages of internal recruitment. Everything has advantage and disadvantage. The first one is the present employees may not be completely qualified. Yeah, that's obvious. Okay, I might not be having PhD, but the job which you are trying to employ someone to work for could be the one demanding a PhD. But I don't have PhD. That means I am underqualified for that person, yet you're going to promote me to do the job. Disadvantage number two is all vacancies cannot be filled through the internal sources. That is very right. If you have done promotion, the person who has been promoted has left behind a vacancy supposed to be filled. At this point, you have no choice but to look for external candidate. Lack of originality and fresh outlook. This is because you don't give chance to the outsider to come and do work. You are simply rotating. There is no new idea, no new face in the organization. The next one is the method narrows the choice and does not make provision of opportunities to the outsiders to apply for a job. So those people who are looking for a job, they will have no chance of working for the organization because the policy is we are taking people only internally. So you, with your experience, with your qualifications, with your hard work, you will remain outside, not working for that organization. And it's very disadvantageous. You are leaving behind people who are competent and committed to do the job. So basically, these are some of the disadvantages of internal source of recruitment. Now let us look at the advantage of external source of recruitment. The first one is the candidates recruited from the external sources bring originality and fresh viewpoint. It means the newcomer will be innovative with new ideas which will eventually help the organization. The next advantage is the experience is regarded as one of the important aspects that help in retaining candidates. So if you have that experience and you are qualified, you have the papers, everything in place, it means you are going to be retained for that particular job in the organization. So that is the advantage of external source of recruitment. Now let us look at the disadvantage of external sources. The organizations are required to spend adequate amount of time and money. With time, you need to advertise the position. You need to shortlist the candidates. You need to interview the candidate. All this requires time and money, so it becomes very expensive. Number two is the current employees may feel insecure regarding their jobs. This is because of the fear of the newcomer. Someone might feel like the newcomer might end up taking the job from them. The last one now is high risk of selecting incompetent candidate. Remember the errors we looked at, the omission error and the selection error. So there is that risk of taking someone who is not actually competent but has impressed during the interview. So when it comes to the actual job, the person is not performing to the expectation. So these are some of the problems or disadvantage of external sources of recruitment. Now, lastly, let us look at the principle of recruitment and selection. Principle number one, observation of rules and policies. Every organization has rules or policies concerning recruitment. So, as human resource manager, you need to follow those procedures. Don't do things outside the procedures. The rules and the procedures are like the constitution of that particular organization in relation to recruitment. The next one is recruitment by committee. Don't do the recruitment alone. And not only involve people from the HR department, try to involve the departmental heads. Example, if you are going to recruit IT person, so you need to involve the head of IT in the recruitment exercise. This is to promote teamwork, transparency, and the credibility of your recruitment exercise. The next one is opportunity of development to the employee. When someone is recruited, that person is supposed to be developed, whether in career or financial, etc. The person has to be developed because if you look at the objective of recruitment, is all about development. The reason why some people are leaving the organization is because of lack of development. You are not developed financially, you are not developed in terms of career. Your career is not taken care of. So how do you expect to work for long when you are not developing? And time is against us. You can't be there just sitting. So you need development. So basically, these are some of the principles of recruitment and selection as a function of human resource management. And I've come to the end of this presentation. See you in the next presentation.